Hey everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristin, and this is episode 182. If you are a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back, and if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, and hand-dyeing yarn in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from. I am also known as Voolenvine on Ravelry and pretty much everywhere else on the web, so if you want to follow me, I'm most active on the Instagram and Ravelry. So we also have a YarnGasm Ravelry group. So if you haven't joined, please do. There's lots of chatter happening, and if you want to keep up with the latest knit-alongs and enter to win prizes for those knit-alongs, or even just introduce yourself, I love hearing from viewers. And even though I'm terrible at responding to a lot of posts in there, I do read all of them, and it makes me so happy to hear from you and meet you in quote many ears because I'm not exactly meeting, you know how it works. But anyway, I love hearing from you regardless, and I do read all of them. So before I get into what's off my needles, on my needles, and all that jazz, I just wanted to mention really quickly a new pattern by Benjamin Credwig, who, if you're not familiar, he has a podcast as well, and I'm totally blanking on the name of it. I think he just renamed his podcast, but you're probably very familiar with Benjamin Credwig. He works for Shacked. We did a collaboration a while back, and he recently released a pattern called Courageon, and it's a hat pattern, and he used Voolenvine yarns in the Dirty on Purpose colorway. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to Ben. Hi, thank you so much for showcasing my yarn in your latest pattern. It looks awesome. Definitely check it out. I will post a link to it in the show notes, which you can find at YarnGasmpodcast.com, where I will list all the show notes. Pretty much everything I mentioned in the show will go on there. If not, just ping me on Ravelry. Let me know in the episode thread if there's anything that I did not answer. But yes, I will post a link to his latest pattern in the show notes where you can find it, and it's awesome. So yeah, there's that. And then the box of socks Cal. I'm gonna start a new segment called knit-alongs because I feel like it has its own place, and every time I mention knit-alongs, I never really know when to mention them on the episode. So let's talk about knit-alongs, shall we? The first and foremost one that has been going on, it's a year-long knit-along. It's called the Box of Socks Cal, and many of you have been asking me what hashtag you should use for Instagram and Twitter and what have you. The hashtag is, and I'll put it in the down bar, hashtag Box O Socks Cal. So if you are joining in on the Box of Socks Cal and you want to post your progress to Instagram or Twitter, just use that hashtag, and this way everybody joining in can find projects related to the knit-along. And my gosh, you guys, I am continually blown away. All the awesome socks are being posted in the thread and on Ravelry and Instagram, and it's just so fun to keep up with you guys. My progress is going slow but steady, and I will get into that in a little bit, but I also wanted to mention how blown away I am by all the boxes that you guys are coming up with. I know Denise from the, Geeky, no, I'm totally blanking, down bar. But Denise and Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi podcast both have Star Wars themed boxes for their socks, which is awesome. So I say go all out. It can be any kind of box, you guys. Just have fun with it. And again, I will be giving away prizes for the most creative boxes as well. So keep them coming, guys. It's just really, really fun. But as I mentioned, it's a year-long knit-along. So it kicked off January 1st, 2016, and I'm going to close the thread and draw prizes and whatnot January 1st, 2017. And the minimum is 12 socks for the whole year, but you can totally exceed that if you want to. And you can wear the socks. You can double dip in other podcast knit-alongs as well. So have fun with it. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to seeing all your amazing socks. Not to say that I haven't seen many amazing socks already. You guys are amazing. So there's that. And then I want to also announce another knit-along that I'm planning to host. just because I feel like we should have another knit along. It's time. I feel like I announced all the previous knit along winners, and it's been a while since I've announced a new knit along, so let's do this. Okay, the next knit along that I am announcing is the Waiting for Rain knit along, and this is a new pattern that I just stumbled on. Someone posted about it on Instagram, and it's a shawl pattern by Sylvia Bobilvia, which I think is an amazing name. Sylvia Bobilvia is, I love it. It's just, I wish I had a name that cool. Sylvia Bobilvia, okay, anyway. You get it. But yeah, it's a pattern by Sylvia Bobilvia, and it's a really gorgeous pattern. I'll see if I can insert a photo of it here. But it's crescent shaped and it's mostly garter stitch, but in between the garter stitches are little panels of lace, like asymmetrical panels of lace, if that makes any sense. And it's stunning, and I want to knit this right now. I wanted to cast on like yesterday, but I don't have any yarn for it, so I'm currently on the prowl for yarn. I could knit it out of my own hand-dyed yarn, but I'm already working on something out of my yarn, and I kind of want to mix things up a little bit. You know, hand-dyed yarn dyers are allowed to knit with other yarns, you know, guys. I'm just saying. But anyway, I would love to kick this knit along off on March 1st, and I want to make it a 1-month knit along. So anybody who wants to join in, please feel free to. I feel like between now and March 1st is plenty of time to select your yarn and to swatch if you want to, and yeah, just get settled with it. So yeah, so there you go. Knit along, the first, well, technically, is this the first knit along of 2016? No, because the box of socks count, but the first like 1-month knit along of 2016. So I will create a thread for that in the YarnGasm Revelry group as well. And yeah, so it's going to go from March 2016 to April 2016. So FYI. Okay, so wow, that was a lot of talking already. It feels like, well, that's pretty much what podcasting is. It's just a lot of talking. Oh yes, and the teacup. This was a hand-me-down teacup from my mom. Yeah, I forget when I inherited this, but she's like, do you want these? And I'm like, hell yes. So, yeah, I have 2 of these, but I don't know. I really like these. Like, not only because of the print, but they're huge teacups, and they come with a matching saucer. Yeah. Okay, so, but today's tea selection is Gingerbread by Tevana, which came in the box that my parents-in-law gave to me for my birthday, which is so good. Again, it does not need any sweetener. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not much. Right now I have nothing in here except for the tea, and it tastes like gingerbread, but with a little fruity kick to it, if you will. And the cool thing about the tea is, like, it's those loose, you have to have like I have a little strainer right here, one of these little metal ball things, but I don't know if it's a new thing, but a lot of these tea makers are starting to put actual chunks of things in it. Like this one came with candied ginger pieces in it, and which is why it probably doesn't even need the sweetener, because it's already candied and it's essentially sugar, so it adds a natural sweetener to it. So yeah, that is what's in my teacup today. Okay, so what's off my needles? I have a hoe, and I apologize for the clinking. This will be part of the 3rd pair of socks that are going into my box of socks, but one monkey sock is done, and this is a pattern by Cookie A. This is an oldie but a goodie, as I mentioned in the last episode. I had knit this pattern before and I loved it, and it's so easy to memorize, the stitch pattern. And this is in my hand-dyed yarn on the Footsie base, which is BFL nylon, superwash BFL and nylon, which not the softest yarn, but it makes for wonderful sock yarn. It's sturdy, it's durable, and really absorbs color really well. It absorbs color really well, I should say. Sorry, I'm still waking up, guys. Yes, but anyway, this is the colorway is Love Song, one of my Valentine's Day colorways that I actually made into a regular. And yeah, I was kind of apprehensive about knitting this colorway using a pattern because it's technically variegated, I would say. Borderline tonal because it has like very relatable colorways or colors in here. But I just love the way the monkey socks display the different colors. It almost looks like feathers, if you will. And yeah, I just gave it a fish lips kiss heel and cuffed down, and I did the Kitchener stitch. It's been a while since I did a Kitchener stitch, but I miss it. I really do enjoy, I don't know, a lot of people don't enjoy the Kitchener stitch because they feel like it's a lot of, it's very fiddly and whatnot, but I memorized it and I really enjoy it. So it's pretty much my go-to sock finishing technique. But yeah, so, and these are, these are on my Bryson sock blockers. And if you're wondering, no, this sock has not been blocked yet. So yeah, I usually wait until I'm done knitting both socks before I block them, but what have you. So yeah, that's one. And then the second sock has been cast on. It's living in my Nina Makes project bag with the kitties on it. I love this bag, especially the inside. Look at that. It's like this green gold metallic fabric. It's just really awesome. And here's where I am with the second sock. I have the cuff done, and wait, did I? Oh yeah, I began the pattern, but I'm like one row into it, so yeah, you know. But yeah, no second sock syndrome here. That's the thing, like I find that I don't really get second sock syndrome anymore. Maybe it's because I've gotten into the habit. Like as soon as I cast off that first sock, I go right into knitting the second sock. I don't put it aside, and you know, this way I know that it's already cast on and I'm not tempted to go to another skein of yarn, if that makes any sense. So yeah, and these are on my carbons, my US size 1, 0.5, 2.5 millimeter needles. Love them to death. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, anyway. And this is how much yarn I have left over. Yay! So that is a work in progress still. And then moving along into on the needles, my doodler shawl, which I've been making slow but steady progress on it, but I am loving it, you guys. This is a shawl pattern by Stephen West, which was his mystery knit along, his most recent mystery knit along that I waited until everyone else was done so I could see what I was getting myself into, because personally I'm not a fan of knit alongs. I hate the surprise element and I don't like to be disappointed, especially when it comes to yarn and knitting projects. So I waited, I held out. But this is just knitting up so beautifully, and I love this whole element that, or the whole design element of this part of the shawl. It's just so cool. And this is my hand-dyed yarn. This is on my Volca base, which is a merino nylon cashmere. And this is the Enjoy the Silence colorway. And then this green is my Venus Flytrap colorway. So yeah, I am really enjoying that. And I'm using some bamboo needles, US size 6, which I believe in millimeters is 3.5 millimeters. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this. And the third color, the third contrasting color will be my Moondrop colorway, which is kind of like a light pinkish mauve blue shaded solid light gray, if you will. You've probably seen it. Well, if not, I'll show you in the shop update section because I dyed some more. So yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with these. Lots, as you can see, a lot of ends to weave in. I've been trying to be good and weaving in as I go, like every couple of wedged repeats. I've just been weaving in the loose ends, which I think I should probably do before I continue knitting the other ones. So anyway, and this is living in my Chia Goo project bag. Yay, the llamas. So, okay, that is pretty much all I've had time to work on this week, I think. Let me see how I'm looking at my show notes. Yeah. My cat is going crazy out there. I don't know what it is with her today. She's just been super social, super, like she just wants a lot of attention. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, I give her a lot of attention, clearly. Now she's meowing. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I apologize. I am going to move on to spinning. I don't have much spinning to share with you other than my Heckle fingers crossed, is supposed to come today. I don't know what has been up with my post office, but they've been horrible at delivering my mail, packages especially. There's one like mail hub that all my packages have been getting stuck at, or just getting held up at. And they've been sitting there. There's no tracking update. And I finally called customer service for the USPS, and I explained what was happening. And so, long story short, my heckle should be here tonight, and I'm super excited. And in lieu of that, I had dyed up some fiber last night, and it's been quite a while since I dyed up some fiber. I don't know, like, I've dyed fiber in the past, but you have to be very gentle with it when you dye it in the dye pot, especially if you're not using superwash. And I had ordered just some plain superwash because I knew I was, going to be trying out my hackle and getting acclimated with it and everything. So I just ordered some plain superwash merino to have fun with, and not worry too much about my handling of it while I'm dyeing, while I'm dyeing it. But just also as just some practice, just to be a little bit more gentle in the dye pot with fiber, because you don't want it to felt, and you don't want the water to get too hot. Otherwise, it can felt, especially if it's some fancy fiber like yak or silk or just non-superwash fiber in general. I dyed up some. You might notice these colorways. This is my Venus Fly Trap colorway, the green. And then I dyed up some, this turned out a lot more saturated than it does on a skein of yarn, but this is my Moondrop colorway, dyed up on some merino. And I got some silk, I got some stellina, so once my hackle gets here, I'm just going to go to town and make me some little nests to, spin up. So I'm excited. I think these colors go so well together. So anyway, I'm excited to see how that turns out. And so anyway, there's that. And then otherwise, there's really been no spinning happening. I've just been incredibly busy this past week, just trying to edit my shawl pattern, which has been out to test knitters for, I think, about 1.5 weeks now. Some test knitters are actually all done, which is I'm super excited about. So far the reactions have been wonderful. Again, I don't design patterns very often, so I was expecting a lot of constructive criticism from them, and I did receive a lot of constructive criticism from them. So I'm super appreciative of that, and it's been a learning experience for me. And it's next time I create a pattern, I'm definitely going to have some good, what I didn't know this time around, I'm definitely going to know next time around when I design a pattern. So it's a really fun learning process, and I could not ask again for better test knitters and tech editors. One tech editor. So, so I'm very grateful for that. And I'm just super excited to release the pattern. It's gonna be released on March 1st, and I know many of you are excited about that. So stay tuned, it's coming. So anyway, moving along, I'm trying to think what else. Sewing. Okay. As I mentioned, the sewing bug has returned, and I've been wanting to sew all the things. So after my last dress was a success in my mind, it fits well, it looks great and everything, I wanted to sew something else naturally. So I had been wanting, because I wear a lot of skirts during the day, like over leggings. This is my basic uniform, black leggings with a dress or a skirt chucked over it. Something comfortable, something casual that, I don't have to think too much about. If that makes any sense, but I feel like the skirt and the dress kind of do that for me. Like, it makes it look like I put effort into it, but really no. So I try to stick to that kind of aesthetic, and I've had this fabric for a while. I've been wanting to sew something special with it, and I'm like, you know what? I got this sewing down, I can do this. And I chose a simplicity pattern. It's a really cute pattern. It is the, it's Simplicity 6872, and it's one of their new look patterns. So Simplicity New Look 6872, and it's just a simple circle skirt with gathers and pockets in the front, which are super cute. But this happened the last time I sewed a Simplicity pattern. I didn't actually finish it yet, so I'm trying to zip up the zipper on it. But yeah, with the last simplicity skirt that I knit, everything turned out fine except for the waistline. I don't know what it is with these simplicity patterns, but the waistlines just kind of, they don't, I like my skirts to be fitted around my waist, but these waistlines just kind of slump to my hip, which apparently is what they were going for. But again, like, I tried to alter it, but on the packets, they're not very clear or specific about, or at least I find, they're not very clear or specific about the finished garment measurements. I mean, so I followed my garment measurement, and then they only gave the finished measurement for the length of the skirt, not the actual waist. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, maybe I'll just follow my waistline and the size for my finished waist measurement, and that'll just miraculously fit me, which is not the way to go. But I know, goodness, I think it's I'm totally going to forget your name, but I think it's Caroline, but you're C. Predmore on Ravelry. Anyway, she came to the podcaster meetup at Vogue Knitting Live, after Vogue Knitting Live, and we had a chat, and she pulled me aside and she's like, you know, if you recall, I tried to design a camisole using voile fabric, and she pulled me aside. She goes, Kristin, next time you sew something, always go a size up so you can, you know, alter it that way. If you're not sure, just always go a little, you know, sew it bigger so you can bring it in. And I feel like I kind of did that this time around. I, you know, like, okay, if it's a little too big, I can always take it in. It's fine. So anyway, let me show you the skirt. Here it is. And it's really pretty fabric. I thought it was, like, I was so excited about this, but when it didn't turn out to fit me correctly, I just kind of got sad. But thankfully I have enough fabric to create another one, I think. But yeah, here it is. It's kind of long. I still have to hem it. But here you have your pockets, 1 pocket, 2 pockets, and then you have the invisible zipper, which, yeah, after just trying it on, I didn't really do any finishing touches to it or anything. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut down this side or seam rip it, obviously, and then just tailor it in or bring it in just a little bit so it does have that effect where it's sitting or resting on my waistline, not on my hips, because right now it just kind of looks like an Amish apron. That's the best way I can describe it. The other cool thing that I want to say about this pattern is I had signed up for a Craftsy class, and I'm totally blanking on the name of it, but she shows you how to do grumble-free gathers was the title of the segment, but she shows you how to create even gathers using elastic. So you buy like this 1/4-inch strip of clear elastic or whatever elastic you can find, and you know, you stretch it out, and then you I'm not even going to describe it because it sounds more complicated than it actually is, but you measure it out to the width of your waist, the elastic, and then you mark it at different intervals. You mark it at different quarters, if you will, and then you sew the elastic into the skirt and stretch it. So after it goes through the machine and it's sewed, it automatically just cinches up on itself. So you have those gathers and they're very even. And it's a great trick. And again, it's a lot more simple to execute than it seems like. But it's a really great tip, and I, you know, definitely could see myself using that trick again in something else that requires gathers, because I stink at gathers in general, but I do love them. And yeah, so I will revisit this very soon, because yeah, it's a great, I love the look of the skirt, so I really want to make it happen. And I do have some extra fabric that I want to use for it. So anyway, okay, that is sewing. I am going to go on to Ask Away, because we have 2 Ask Away questions, which is a thread, again, in the Ravelry group, where you can ask me anything that you want, you know, about the show, about knitting, spinning, dyeing yarn, or just my life in general. Whatever you want to know, ask me in there, and I may answer it on the show or right there in the thread, depending on how time sensitive it is. So, okay, the first question is from Amanda Love Amanda Loves Pearls on Ravelry asks, "Hi Kristin, what books or blogs did you use the most to learn to dye yarn when you first started? There's a lot of information out there, and I was curious what resources you found most useful when you first started out. Thanks for the help." Okay, so I actually created, I think I mentioned this on a couple of episodes ago, but I created a tab in the blog, the YarnGasm podcast blog, where I think it's called Resources and Links. And if you click on that, it has a whole list of frequently asked questions and links to, like, you know, you were asking, where you can find all those resources that I recommend. But to answer your question here, I basically used YouTube, and there was another video that I watched on Interweave. I had to purchase it, but a great video on dyeing yarn in your kitchen, which I found very helpful. And yeah, even those, you know, really, like, the quality of the videos aren't great, but they show you how to dye yarn using Kool-Aid, acid, or just simple Kool-Aid or food coloring. And basically all you have to know is that you need, you know, your dyes, and you need heat, and you need an acid to fuse it to the yarn. And, you know, after just watching several of those YouTube videos, even Laura of the Dyer's Notebook, she gives excellent tutorials on how to dye yarn. Yeah, just absorbing all that info, you know, you have that, that foundation. You know, I just took that and experimented, trial and error, and ran away with it, if that makes any sense. But definitely check out that link. I will, of course, post that in the show notes, but if you just go to yarngasmpodcast.com, you'll see the tab at the top. And you'll be able to find the links to those, to your questions. So yeah, I hope that helps. And the next question is from Yummy Triplet Mummy. She wants to know, "Hi Kristin, I've been watching your podcast for a while now, and I'm really enjoying it. Thanks. With every episode, I find myself drawn to the sweater top you have hung on the door behind you. What's the name of this pattern? It looks so lovely, and I'd love to have a go at knitting one." Okay, yeah, thank you. Yes, she's talking about this sweater right here, or it's a t-shirt, if you will. And it is the Lily of the... I cannot talk today again. Every time I podcast. It is the Water Lily top by Megan Fernandez, and it was a pattern featured in Pom Pom Quarterly. I'm totally forgetting which issue that was, but you can download it on Ravelry. I think you have to purchase the whole entire magazine to get the pattern, but you get, like, I think 6 or 7 patterns to go along with it, and a magazine, so it's a win-win situation. But lovely pattern, highly recommend it. I knitted out of Voolenvine yarns in the Volca base in my Beach House colorway, which is kind of like a summery colorway that I dye up usually. But yeah, so I hope that answers your question as well. And I am going to move on to shop update, because yes, I'm having a shop update tomorrow. I just want to mention and say thank you first and foremost to everybody who signed up and joined the Gory Details Yarn Club that I announced on Tuesday. And signups were supposed to last until the end of February, but I was amazed. It just sold out so quickly. By the end of the day, there were no subscriptions left. So thank you so much to everybody who signed up for that. And I'm sorry that whoever missed out on it. I'm so excited that you're excited to see what colorways they come up with. And it's going to be a lot of fun, I promise you. So very excited about that. But yeah, tomorrow, shop update. I have some yarn that will go into the shop. Get my box. All right. So first I will have some Sweet Dreams. Sorry, brain fart. I will have some Sweet Dreams in the shop. I will also have some Gashly Crumb. Here it is on Footsie. And then I will have some Venus Flytrap. And then I will have some fiber on there. Succulents. This is on my Narwhal base. And then I will have some Love Song. And then I will have some Moondrop, which is going to be a misfit because I was trying something new, something that I kind of wanted to try with it for a while, and I really liked the way it turned out. But this is Moondrop with some black speckles on it. And it kind of reminds me, like, if you're looking at the night sky and then do a negative of it, or like, if you take, film photo of the night sky, and then you look at the negative, you see like the reversal of it. It's like the sky is suddenly white and the stars are black, and this is exactly what it reminds me of. So I thought that turned out really cool. And and this one was, last week I had listed it as a one of a kind, but I actually really like the way it turned out. This is my macabre colorway, or macabre, how do you pronounce that? I don't know, but I like macabre. It sounds fancy. So, but yeah, I really, really like the way this turned out. So I dyed up a whole bunch of other skeins of it. So we'll see how it does. You know, if you guys like it, I will make it a regular, but here it is again, and this is on my narwhal base. And I will have all these dyed up on my various bases. So Footsie, narwhal, and Volga this week. So yeah, I hope you guys can make it. Again, it's tomorrow, Friday, February 12th, I believe, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hope you can make it. And I think that is it for this week. I feel, is there something I'm missing? I don't think so. But yeah, otherwise, blather. Yeah, nothing. Like, yeah, nothing happening. Oh my goodness, I totally forgot to share this with you guys. But I had actually dyed, if you remember, I had gone to Gauge Intention and purchased a skein of her Cormo, of Michelle's Cormo, which is 100% Cormo wool, 2-ply sport weight, grown in Montana, worsted spun in Maine. And here's the label. And it was pure white when I showed it to you. Sorry about that. We had a FedEx delivery. So, but yeah, as I was saying, I actually dyed up the Cormo. So again, it's non-superwash, so it takes colors not the way I expect them to come out. But I had originally wanted this to be some black pearl, but as you know, with non-superwash, the colors come out a little bit lighter, and I was expecting that. But I had actually dyed some fiber for a friend a couple weeks ago, and it was non-superwash, and I really liked the way it turned out. It was when I dyed, I had actually dyed it black pearl for her, but I had like this really cool mauve burgundy color that resulted from the way I dyed it when I tried to dye it black in the black pearl colorway. So I tried to replicate that effect. And yeah, it kind of turned out really cool, and I love it. And yeah, I definitely either want to knit a pair of mittens out of this or a hat. I know I have my quadri hat, which I've been wearing to death, but one thing that I find with that hat, ironically, the pom-pom kind of weighs it down, which I'm totally fine with. And, you know, it's fine if I'm, you know, on a weekday, but if I'm going somewhere, I don't know, because it's always dragging down a little bit, I always find that I have to readjust it on my head sometimes. And when I take the hat off, I have crazy hat hair. So I kind of wanted something I can alternate with. So I think I want to knit a hat out of this. And it is so, guys, Cormo is lovely. If you can get your hands on some of it, I highly recommend it. But yeah, I really love the way it turned out. So cannot wait to knit with this. So as far as blather, Valentine's Day is this weekend. Dennis and I have some plans. We don't normally celebrate, you know, normally I don't think we'd go crazy celebrating Valentine's Day, but it technically is our date-iversary. When we first officially started dating, you know, we had been going out a while, and then Valentine's Day rolled around. Well, we had been going out, I think, like a month and a half or so, and then, you know, Valentine's Day rolled around, and we're like, so are we doing this? Like, what's going on? We're like, yeah, let's just do it. So we, you know, that's officially when we said, all right, you know, this is a thing now. So yeah, we just, you know, we always celebrate Valentine's Day. We do something special. Maybe not on the day, but, you know, maybe the day after or something we'll go out, because we're not a huge fan of like prefix dinners, or anytime we try to go out to eat on Valentine's Day, it's insane. I'm sure you can relate. So we usually go out the day before or after, which is fine. So yeah, I'll probably, you know, regale you with what we did next week. But what was I going to say? This past weekend, what happened? It's all such a blur. I can't remember. Oh, don't you hate those? Well, I mean, oh, Super Bowl. I mean, but don't you hate that? Like when you just can't remember, like you've been doing so much. You're like, what happened? I don't know. But yeah, the Super Bowl was on Sunday. I was watching Tanya from the Knitting Spring podcast, and she's like, I totally forgot it was Super Bowl Sunday. Tanya, I totally forgot to until I think Dennis even told me like in the morning. He's like, oh yeah, the Super Bowl's today. I'm like, oh, all right. And then I forgot. And then I turned on the TV and there was Lady Gaga singing the national anthem. And I'm like, oh yeah, Super Bowl. We didn't have any plans. We didn't go to any parties. Dennis was invited to a Super Bowl game, but he's not really into sports or football or anything like that. So we just kind of like hung out that day. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I got a new computer. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I'm just excited about it. It was time. I have had my MacBook Air. It's just like a 13-inch computer monitor, which is, you know, is the smallest size, I think. And you know, it has gotten me through several years, and it served its purpose. But yeah, working from home, doing what I need to do on it, especially editing podcasts, updating my site, and like having a million windows open at the same time, symptom of creativity, or product of creativity, if you will. Yeah, it just made sense for me to get something with a bigger monitor, especially because my computer started acting slow. You know, when it gets to that age, things start to lag, programs start to crash. And I was kind of like, all right, it's time. So for my birthday, you know, Dennis went halvesies with me, and you know, we got me a new computer. So I actually got a MacBook Mini. I don't know if any of you have them, but I'm excited to find out how it works. You know, I obviously researched it and everything, but the main reason I got that was because, you know, it was, again, affordable, and then you can choose whatever size monitor that you want. So got the MacBook Mini. Or I got the iMac Mini, and then I got this, I think, like, I'm looking at it right now, it's behind my iPhone, but it's about a 24-inch monitor, so it's pretty big, and I'm very excited about that. And bonus points, I can actually watch podcasts while I'm working, because before I was just watching them on my little computer screen. So now I can actually see it from across the room, which is wonderful. I cannot wait to do that. So yeah, otherwise, yay, new computer. Anyway, so at this point I'm just babbling. So that said, I hope all of you are staying warm. Happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.